A lot of men think that attracting a woman is about saying the right pickup line, having money, or looking like a model. But what if I told you that the real power to attract women, even the ones who seem uninterested, is something you already have, but you're probably not using it the right way? In today's talk, we're going to unpack the psychology behind female attraction and how you as a man can shift your energy and behavior to become naturally irresistible. Let's get one thing clear. Attraction is not manipulation, it's alignment. You're not tricking her to like you. You're becoming the version of yourself that women naturally want to be around. And this starts with energy over appearance. 1. Energy over appearance. Most men believe that to attract a woman, especially one who seems uninterested, they need to look a certain way: tall, chiseled jawline, perfect hair, designer clothes, and a six-pack. That's the myth we've been sold. But the truth? That's surface level thinking. The deeper reality is this. Attraction starts before she even consciously notices you. It begins with your energy, the vibe you give off when you walk into a room, before you've even said a single word. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who wasn't particularly good looking, but the way they carried themselves made them magnetic? That's not a coincidence. It's energy. Women don't just see you, they feel you. They read into your nonverbal cues, how you move, how you stand, the tone in your voice, how secure you are in your own presence. They pay attention to things you don't even realize you're communicating, because 90% of human communication is nonverbal. And women, on average, are far more emotionally intuitive than men. This means they're constantly scanning for authenticity, confidence, presence, all of which are forms of energy, not looks. Here's where most guys get it wrong. They approach women with a vibe of neediness, like they're asking for permission to be liked, and that energy repels women fast. It's not about what you say, it's about who you're being when you say it. If your energy says, "Please like me," she'll feel that desperation, even if your words sound smooth. Desperation isn't attractive. Stability is. Now imagine a man who walks into a room slowly, shoulders back, chin up. He doesn't seek approval. He knows who he is. He doesn't rush his words. He listens more than he talks. He doesn't need the room to validate him because he already validates himself. That kind of man could be wearing a $10 0-cents t-shirt and still steal the attention of every woman in that room. Not because of fashion, but because of frequency. He's vibrating at confidence. His energy speaks louder than his style. And let's get real. This is good news for most men. Why? Because you can control your energy even if you can't control your genetics. You can shift your body language. You can build self-trust. You can practice mindfulness and stop overthinking every interaction. You can learn to breathe deeply, slow down, and stay rooted in the moment instead of spiraling into insecurity. Because when you're rooted in presence, you're magnetic. You're rare. And rare is attractive. Women are drawn to men who feel like a rock in the middle of chaos. The man who doesn't need to prove anything. That's the man who stands out. She's not just responding to your face. She's responding to how you make her feel when you're around. And a man who feels calm, grounded, and emotionally secure makes her feel safe. Not just safe physically, but emotionally. That's the real game. So the next time you think you're being overlooked, ask yourself, is it really your appearance or is it your energy? Are you walking into the room like you belong there, or are you apologizing for your presence without even realizing it? Energy is everything. Own your space, control your vibe, and watch how women begin to notice you, not because of your looks, but because of the powerful, calm, authentic presence you bring with you. 2. Emotional control is magnetic. Let's be real. Most men are emotionally reactive. When things don't go their way, they get angry, anxious, jealous, or defensive. And they show it. They argue, they chase, they collapse into neediness. But here's the thing. Emotional reactivity is the fastest way to kill attraction, especially with a woman who already seems uncertain about you. The truth is, emotional control, real, deep, grounded self is rare. And that's exactly why it's magnetic. You want to stand out? Be the guy who doesn't get thrown off by a woman's mood. Be the guy who stays calm when she pulls back. Be the guy who can hold tension in a conversation without folding. That doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being centered. It means being in charge of your emotions rather than letting them run the show. Because whether you realize it or not, women are constantly testing your emotions, not always intentionally, but biologically, it's wired into them to check if the man they're around can hold emotional space. If you fail that test, they don't feel safe. And when a woman doesn't feel safe, she can't feel attraction. The guy who explodes when he's ignored or spirals into panic because she didn't text back, that guy loses. Why? Because he's communicating insecurity. He's saying, I can't handle this emotionally, and that's not attractive. On the flip side, a man who keeps his cool, who doesn't need constant reassurance, who isn't rattled by silence, who can maintain his internal peace even when things feel uncertain. That man is different, and women feel it. They don't always consciously realize why they're drawn to him, but it's that stability, that strength, that quiet confidence. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or pretending you don't care. It means acknowledging your emotions without acting them out. It's about creating space between stimulus and response. When she says something that pushes your buttons, instead of reacting instantly, you breathe, you observe, you give it a moment. That pause, that tiny, deliberate pause is power. It's in that pause that trust is built, respect is earned, attraction grows. Because here's what most men miss. Women don't want to be the emotional leader in the relationship. They want to feel free to express themselves emotionally, creatively, even irrationally, knowing that the man they're with can handle it. Not judge it, not fix it, not control it, just hold space for it without being swept away. That's emotional maturity. And it's unbelievably attractive. When a woman sees you staying calm in conflict, or not taking things personally, or walking away when you feel disrespected, not in anger, but in clarity, that's when you become unforgettable. You're not playing games, you're just operating from a higher level of self-respect. And that's magnetic, because it tells her this man doesn't chase chaos. He leads with calm. Let's get honest. Emotional control is not something you're born with. It's something you train through reflection, through breath work, through awareness. You learn to stop reacting and start responding. You build that inner strength the same way you build muscle, repetition, discipline, and time. So if you want to attract a woman, even one who's not showing interest, start by mastering you, your mood, your reactions, your thoughts. Because when you walk through life unshaken, you don't have to chase anything. Your energy does the work for you. And the woman who once seemed distant, she starts to feel pulled toward you. Not because of what you said, but because of who you are. There's a harsh truth most men don't want to hear. When you make yourself too available, too eager, too accommodating, you lose value. Not because women are cruel, not because they're playing games, but because human psychology is wired this way. We value what feels rare, what feels earned, what doesn't throw itself at us every second. And when it comes to attraction, scarcity creates value. Every single time. You might think that by constantly texting her, calling her, sending her good morning messages, reacting to every story she posts, you're showing effort, that you're proving you care. But what you're actually doing is removing the mystery, the chase, the tension. And without tension, attraction dies fast. When something's always available, it becomes background noise. You don't notice it. You don't crave it. Think about your favorite food. If you had it every single day with no effort, no waiting, no excitement, eventually it would become ordinary. That's not just opinion, that's behavioral science. Human beings are stimulated by novelty, uncertainty, and challenge. We are drawn to what we can't completely predict or possess. So when a woman knows that she can have your attention at any time without earning it, she stops valuing it. Not because she's trying to disrespect you, but because you've trained her to expect constant availability. You've made your time and energy feel cheap, even if your intentions were pure. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about boundaries, self-worth. You show your value by where you place your attention and how often you give it away. If your whole day revolves around trying to get a response from someone who isn't showing equal interest, you're not being romantic, you're being desperate. And desperation is the opposite of attraction. But when you become selective with your energy, when you stop responding instantly, when you pull back and focus on your own goals, your growth, your peace, something powerful happens. She starts to notice the shift. She feels the gap. She wonders what changed. And that's when she becomes curious. That's when attraction begins to grow. Because now you're not flooding her with validation. You're making her earn your attention. And that makes it more valuable. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to ignore her or disappear for days. You just need to reclaim your time. Stop over-explaining. Stop double texting. Stop checking in every hour. The more calm, focused, and nonchalant you are, the more grounded and attractive you become. That calm energy signals strength. It says, I'm not chasing, I'm living. You're welcome to join me, but I'm not begging for it. And this shift doesn't just change how she sees you, it changes how you see yourself. When you realize you don't need constant validation, you become more self-respecting. You start setting standards. You become the prize, not the pursuer. And that energy flips the dynamic. Suddenly, you're not anxiously waiting for her reply. You're too busy leveling up your own life. Attraction grows in space, in mystery, in emotional tension. If she always knows where she stands with you, there's nothing to discover, no curiosity, no desire to pursue. But when you give her just enough to feel your presence and then pull back to your purpose, you become unforgettable. Because you're not just another guy flooding her DMs. You're the one she can't fully figure out. And that mystery, that distance, that calm detachment, that's where the magic lives. That's where desire builds. And that's how scarcity becomes your greatest advantage. Most guys make a critical mistake when they find a woman they're attracted to. They make her the focus of their life. They start adjusting their schedule, their priorities, even their values, just to win her over. But what they don't realize is that the more you center your world around someone else, the more you lose the very thing that made you attractive in the first place, your purpose. A man without purpose is a man drifting. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who's lost himself in the process of trying to win someone else. Women don't want a man who puts them first. Not in the beginning. They want a man who puts his mission first. A man who is locked in, building something, working towards something greater than himself. That purpose creates gravity. It draws people in. It gives you presence, direction, and a kind of quiet power that no compliment, gift, or text ever could. You don't attract a high-value woman by chasing her. You attract her by showing her that your life is already full, already meaningful, and that you're not looking to be saved by her attention. You're not seeking validation. You're living your life on fire, and she's welcome to join the ride, but she's not the engine that keeps it going. When a woman sees that you're devoted to something bigger than just getting her attention, she feels both curious and safe. Curious because you're not fixated on her, which makes her want to understand why. Safe because she senses you're not going to lose yourself over her. A man with no mission is like a ship without a sail. He drifts into women's lives hoping to be completed, but a man with a clear direction, he becomes the storm. He's moving forward with or without her. That kind of confidence is irresistible. It doesn't come from faking status or pretending to be busy. It comes from actually living a life of depth and meaning. Purpose gives you focus. It gives your time structure. It builds confidence because every day you show up for your purpose, you're proving to yourself that you're consistent, disciplined, and worthy of respect. And when you respect yourself, others follow. Women especially respond to a man who doesn't need to be chased or praised because he's already self-validated. That's rare. That's attractive. The problem is many guys drop everything the moment they get attention from a woman they like. They stop working on themselves. They start chasing her approval. And in doing so, they shift from leader to follower, from masculine to needy. And she feels it. It's subtle, but it's enough to make her pull back. Not because she's playing hard to get, but because the energy changed. The polarity flipped. You stopped leading with purpose and started leading with need. If you want long-term attraction, not just a spark, but sustained fire, you need to protect your mission above everything else. That's what keeps your energy solid. That's what keeps you grounded when she's distant or unsure. You're not shaken because you weren't relying on her for your sense of identity in the first place. Your purpose is your compass. Without it, you'll wander into the arms of the wrong people, hoping they'll give you direction. But when you know where you're going, you don't get lost chasing. You attract the right people into your orbit, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you're too busy building something meaningful to pretend. Stay on your path. Build your life. Let her see you shine from a distance, and if she wants to walk beside you, she will. Not because you begged, but because you led.